Everybody, welcome back to another recipe video. So today I'm gonna make a dessert, and I was kind of trying to think about what dessert to make in my Instant Pot. So here's what we are gonna do today. I'm gonna make a fruitcake bread pudding, bread in quotation marks. So there are a number of ways. You can do this for a bread pudding as well, but just very simply, you can use different breads or like a Christmas cake as well. So today what I'm going to do is use this fruit cake or plum cake. This is also kind of a Christmas cake. This is a darker version. It has lots of flavor. It has like these tutti frutti bits, pieces in the middle. And so you get this at the Indian store. Now, if you want to do this just with regular bread, just use some hearty bread that's stale. So the drier the bread, the better the bread pudding because it absorbs all your custard mixture. You also get this Christmas cake or like the panettone. That's like this big large cake. It's yellowish in color with like all the green and red tutti frutti bits in between. That also works amazingly well. So today I want to try this with this plum cake. Now this cake itself is very flavorful. It has like this really dark flavor going through it. And so what I want to do is, as you can see, I have this here, and I have some eggs, milk. I'm also going to use a couple of like bread slices. So these are just kind of the edges of the bread. Again, they would be nice. They would soak it up and kind of give a little bit variation of flavor because this cake is sweet as well. And then I have some sugar as well. So I will show you first. What we're going to do is start off by just breaking these pieces in here of the bread and the cake both. And then we are going to make our custard mixture in here. So here you see I have the cake pieces. I left them pretty large, like an inch and a half cube sizes. I don't want it to be too small, otherwise it's going to get crumbly because this is cold, so it looks hard. But once it starts soaking up the liquid, I don't want it to crumble too much. The bread you can go smaller, especially because this was an edge piece and I want it to soak up the liquid itself. So that's your kind of, I'm going to mix these up in here itself just so that they are evenly distributed. I don't want some people to get just bread and some people to get just the cake. So I'm going to do that. And then what I'm going to do is break out those 3 eggs and put them in here. So my eggs are all beaten up. As you can see, I just use a regular whisk and just kind of beat it around for about a minute. To this, I'm going to add 3 cups of milk. So this is my 1 cup. I'm going to put in 3 cups of milk. What I have today is whole milk. You can use 2%. You can use cream. Up to you, depending on what fat content you are comfortable with. I mean, generally they do say if you use cream or whole milk, it becomes a creamier dessert. And of course it will be, but if you're watching out for calories or fat content, feel free to use 2%. Okay, to this I'm going to add half a cup of sugar. This is just raw cane sugar, which is why it looks brown in color. And since my cake is brown, it doesn't matter. You can use white sugar, you can use brown sugar. Brown sugar will give you that deeper molasses flavor as well. I'm only adding half a cup, and I'm gonna kind of do a quick taste test of the milk itself, because I told you my cake itself has sugar in it, so I don't want to put too much sugar and make this too sweet. If you're just using bread, then you will want to add some more sugar, probably 3/4 of a cup to a cup. Again, you adjust the sugar based on your taste preferences. So I melted my sugar just by whisking it around a little bit. To this, I'm going to add a pinch of sea salt. Yes. So sea salt brings out the flavor of everything else. So just add a tiny pinch. You don't have to go overboard, though it won't make too much of a difference. But if you don't like salt, you can skip it as well. And then what you can do is you can add, if you're just using bread, add about a teaspoon of vanilla. So you do want to do that. Again, I'm not adding too much of it because I have my cake. You can also add orange liquor like Grand Marnier or something like that if you want to put some alcohol in here. do like a tablespoon or so of like orange liquor in here, and that will also enhance the flavor of this recipe. And don't worry, like the alcohol technically is going to burn off. About 15 minutes and my bread and cake is soaking in the custard mixture. Meanwhile, I use this insert that I have that's like 2.5-3 inches high, and I buttered it all the way around. If you have a non-stick insert, that will work as well. I don't have one that's small enough to go into the Instant Pot, but like if you have a spring foam pan or something that's less than 8 inches, that might work as well. Just make sure that the quantity of pudding mixture that you have can fit into it. So I didn't give you necessarily the quantity of the bread and stuff, I kind of eyeballed it. So just make sure that whatever quantity you're taking kind of aligns with the insert you're using. You could also always do it in 2 batches, so that's fine as well. But what I'm going to do next is just dump this in here and press it down a little bit. And in my Instant Pot over here, I have about 1 inch of water down below, and then I'm going to use then I'm going to show you what to do next. Okay, so mine fit in there perfectly. It has about a little bit of room up here, about like 3/4 of an inch to rise if it needs to, but it's not really going to do that much. And again, like the quantity of liquid to bread is where your bread is just about like, submerged in the custard mixture. What I'm doing is just pressing this down a little bit so that none of the pieces dry out because they are at the top. And what's going to happen is generally when you cook this bread pudding in the oven, you kind of make sure that you have like a water along with your pudding mixture. But since we're doing this in Instant Pot, it's really going to make it so moist as well. Okay. So just making sure it's set there correctly. Okay. Just making sure one more time that everything is nice and submerged. And then what's going to happen next is we're going to close this up. Okay. And I'll show you what settings I'm going to use. So I'm going to try the cake mode for this. So we're going to start with the cake mode. So here we go. Cake mode. Change the pressure level to low. I don't want it to dry out too much. And then change the timing. I'm going to do this for about 20 minutes. What I don't want is this to dry out. I don't want to overcook it as well. So I will show you what this looks like after 20 minutes. Okay, so after 20 minutes of cooking time and then 20 minutes of natural release, here's my bread pudding. You can insert a knife to check if it comes out clean, and it does, which means it has cooked completely. I'm gonna let it cool down, take this out, and kind of go around the edges over here to get it out. See, because we put the butter, it hasn't stuck at all. And you can serve this with ice cream or eat on its own. You can serve it warm or cold, up to you. Hope you enjoyed this recipe. Thank you so much for watching.